Have you noticed that electricity bills in Ghana seem to be getting higher and higher and higher? Many people believe their meters are faulty. Some even think ECG is overcharging them. But recently, I came across a very interesting analysis that suggests something else might be happening. According to a recent article published on the highstreetjournal.com, electricity tariffs in Ghana have increased by approximately 28% since 2025. Not just through one big announcement, but through several gradual tariff adjustments over time. So what many people are experiencing may not necessarily be faulty meters. It may actually be the quiet increase of electricity tariffs over time. And this is exactly why smart home owners are starting to think differently about how they power their homes. Because instead of depending completely on the national grid, some homeowners are starting to build what is called a microgrid system. In simple terms, their house becomes its own small private power grid.
Are you looking to build your dream home in Ghana? Or are you building already? Would you benefit from regular site visits to monitor your building and receive regular progress reports? Well, if that's the case, and that's you, look no further. Asher and Gad Consultancy at your service. We offer the following services: electrical design, construction monitoring inspections, site progress reports, consultation for all items MEP, witnessing of testing and commissioning, periodic snagging, vetting of specialist subcontractors. We also report site activities to you to hopefully help you spend your money efficiently and much, much more. Get in contact for your building needs. Details on the screen. Asher and Gad Consultancy, making Africa home again, one family at a time.
Now, when people hear the word microgrid, it sounds very technical. But the idea is actually very simple. A residential microgrid is a home that can generate and manage its own electricity using multiple sources. And Ghana is actually a very good place for this type of system, because we have two natural advantages. The first is solar energy, obviously. Ghana receives a very high level of solar irradiation throughout the year. That means solar panels can generate a significant amount of electricity during the day. But the second advantage is something people don't talk about enough, and I've seen it now. That is wind. Okay, in certain parts of Ghana, especially coastal areas or elevated locations, there is enough wind to support small residential wind turbines. So now imagine combining these two energy sources together. Solar panels producing electricity during the day, okay, and then you have a small wind turbine producing electricity when the wind is blowing. All right, both connected to a hybrid inverter system, and that system charging a battery bank. During the daytime, your house can run on solar power. Okay, if the wind is blowing, the wind turbines adds extra electricity. Any excess power charges your batteries. Then at nighttime, when the sun goes down, the batteries power your home. Perfect. Because nighttime electricity demand is usually lower. You know, your fridge, freezer, ceiling fans, lighting, perhaps one or two air conditioners can run from the stored battery energy. Now, this becomes even more interesting when the system is designed properly from the beginning. For example, many homes in Ghana rely on boreholes for water supply. Normally, borehole pumps are powered from electricity from the grid or by generators, right? But with the right design, you can install a solar-powered borehole pump, which means the sun is powering your water system during the day. And that solar system can be integrated with the same energy system that powers the house. Okay, so now your electricity system and your water system are working together in unison as part of the same energy infrastructure. This is actually the same engineering principle that is used in large infrastructure projects. For example, in data centers, in hospitals, airports, where multiple energy sources are combined to create a resilient power system. But now these ideas are slowly starting to appear in residential homes. Okay, there are generally two ways homeowners are implementing these systems. The first option is what we call a hybrid microgrid. In this setup, the house is still connected to ECG electricity grid, okay, but the solar panels, wind turbines, and batteries provide most of the electricity. The grid simply becomes a backup source. For example, if there is bad weather for several days, or if the battery charge becomes too low, then you've got the grid to automatically step in and support your house. So instead of depending on the grid 100% 24/7, the grid becomes your safety net. Okay. The second option is to go fully off grid. This is where the house has no electricity grid connection at all and even no generator. Everything is powered by solar panels, wind generation, batteries, and sometimes a backup generator if you want it. Now, this type of system requires proper engineering and careful planning because the solar capacity, battery storage, and household electricity demand must be balanced correctly. But when it is designed properly, it can allow a home to operate almost completely independent from the national grid, and that is beautiful. One of the biggest misconceptions people have is that installing solar panels alone solves your electricity problem. But solar panels are only one part of the system. A proper residential microgrid normally includes the following: solar panels, a hybrid inverter system, battery storage, okay, and sometimes a wind turbine. In some cases, a solar borehole pump also, all connected together in a single integrated energy system. When designed correctly, this creates a home that is far more resilient than a typical house that depends only on the ECG grid. And this is why more people are starting to look at these systems seriously. Electricity tariffs are gradually increasing in Ghana. Fuel prices for generators remain unpredictable. Okay, and homeowners are beginning to realize that producing at least some of their own electricity can make financial sense over the long term. Now, in the next few videos in this new series, we're going to explore this topic in much more detail. Okay, for example, we're going to answer questions like, can a house in Ghana realistically run 100% on solar power? How much would it actually cost to power a home completely off-grid? What are the biggest mistakes homeowners make when installing solar systems? And we will also compare the cost of buying solar systems locally versus importing them directly from China, which can sometimes make a very, very big difference in your initial price. Because when it comes to building a house in Ghana, as you guys know, the right knowledge at the beginning can save you thousands of cedis later on. And if you're planning to build in Ghana, you can also find links to my practical construction and engineering guides in the descriptions below. Okay? They are designed to help homeowners plan their projects properly and avoid costly mistakes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we answer an important question many people are asking today. Can a house in Ghana run completely on solar power? Trust you enjoyed that, guys. From Guy this Chemist here, and for me, guys, Yibeshia. See you next time.